the presence of Ward 6 Councilmember Charles Allen and at-large Councilmember Christina Henderson. We have 3 items on the agenda today. First is PR 2576, the Deputy Mayor for Public Safety and Justice, Lindsay Appiah, Confirmation Resolution of 2023. Second, PR 25-115, the Director of the Office of Unified Communications, Heather McGaffin, Confirmation Resolution of 2023. And third, the Committee on the Judiciary and Public Safety Staff, Second Appointment Resolution of 2023. So first, PR 2576, the Deputy Mayor for Public Safety and Justice, Lindsay Appiah, Confirmation Resolution of 2023. We are going to consider this measure today, which will confirm Lindsay Appiah as Deputy Mayor for Public Safety and Justice. The resolution was introduced by Chairman Mendelson at the request of Mayor on January 25th, 2023, and the committee held a public roundtable on the resolution on March 15th, 2023. The nomination of Ms. Appiah to serve as Deputy Mayor for Public Safety and Justice comes at a really critical time for the district. In both 2021 and 2022, the district experienced over 200 homicides, higher than any year since 2003. The new deputy mayor must be prepared to take immediate and decisive action to reverse these trends, with a particular focus on reducing rates of gun violence and the proliferation of legal firearms in the district. The new deputy mayor will face this charge as a number of our public safety agencies undergo leadership changes of their own, including the executive directors of DYRS, ONES, OVSJG, and critically Chief Conti's impending departure from NPD. DMPSJ plays a pivotal role in coordinating between our local, federal, and neighboring jurisdiction public safety agencies to effectuate the district's public safety goals. The individual selected to serve in this role must be prepared to lead during this period of significant transition. And I can think of few times in recent memory that this work was more urgent and the need for strong leadership more critical. DMPSJ also plays a role in providing direction, guidance, and support to the public safety agencies under its purview. This includes ensuring agency accountability as it relates to the delivery of services to residents, as well as strengthening agencies' data collection, sharing, and analysis, and providing support for district and community-based violence interruption programs. It is crucial that our next deputy mayor be poised and eager to engage in regular, candid conversations with the community and provide complete transparency on the operations of the agencies that fall under DMPSJ's purview. I have had opportunity to discuss with Ms. Appiah her vision for DMPSJ and public safety more generally, and I believe she is not only equipped to address these concerns, but also sees them as a top priority. Now, the council and the executive have not always seen eye to eye on how the district may effectively approach these issues. As chair, I can share that my commitment to working closely with the new deputy mayor to work towards a district that is both safer and more equitable. It is my hope that Ms. Appiah's confirmation will mark this fruitful partnership as we have had over the past several months since Ms. Appiah was appointed as acting deputy mayor, and we will continue to collaborate on solutions to improve public safety for all district residents. On the background of the nominee before us today, Lindsay Appiah currently serves as acting deputy mayor for public safety and justice, where she has already begun making headway on many of the issues I've raised today. In turn, reviewing her 10 years of service with DYRS in her previous role as chief of staff for DMPSJ and her tenure working for the state of Tennessee, I have confidence that Ms. Appiah will be able to utilize her extensive knowledge of juvenile justice, agency protocols and policies, and public safety more broadly to identify and pursue creative and effective solutions to the most pressing and urgent public safety concerns facing the district. Her experience both in the district and abroad make clear her qualifications to serve as deputy mayor, and if confirmed, I believe she will prove a successful leader of our public safety agencies. I will now move both the print and the report of PR 2576 with leave for staff to incorporate this discussion, as well as make any technical changes made in consultation with the general counsel. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Chair Pinto, for moving this nomination today. I First, really got an opportunity to speak with Ms. Appiah in January after the mayor nominated her to fill the Deputy Mayor for Public Safety and Justice role. Ms. Appiah shared with me then and since with the committee during her hearing confirmation process that she values collaboration, communication, and coordination. These are all great things. These are things that I too value as well. I mention that today because it is natural for the executive and legislative branches of any government to have competing goals and philosophies. At this time, the public safety space is not one where the different branches of government can afford to lose focus of the issues and be sidetracked by the tendencies of our various branches. Throughout the city, residents have shared that they don't feel safe, and that we know that the increase in violence continues to be disproportionately experienced by residents in the eastern end of the city. A sentiment that has emerged is that the district needs to, quote, go back to basics on public safety solutions. To me and many residents, back to basics suggests going back to an over-reliance on law enforcement to address issues that ultimately stem from poverty. There are certain practices that we as a city have moved away from for good reason. And so I'm eager to see from this deputy mayor candidate a vision for public safety that has matured from past lessons learned. I will support the mayor's nominee, and I do so in hopes that Ms. Appiah will work with the council and the judicial branch to find viable solutions within the limitations of our very weird setup of a system that we have here. In voting for this nominee, I do so trusting that she will use this position to find and propose solutions that look to the future, not backwards, that work for our residents in the long term, instead of working for city leaders in the short term, and can make hard choices and involve the council and members of this committee in the decision-making process up front. And finally, demonstrate expertise in the procedural intricacies of violence prevention and interruption, victim response, community safety, and the criminal legal system. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Henderson. Councilmember Allen.
Thanks so much, Chair Pinto. I appreciate it, and agree. I appreciate you bringing this forward. And in regard to Acting Deputy Mayor Appiah, I want to congratulate her on the nomination, and I am going to be supporting her today. I think she's worked in a variety of public safety sector agencies for the district, and I think she has a knowledge and understanding of many parts of that overall system that has to work. And I think you said in your introduction that we really need to see and need decisive and urgent action, and I could not agree more with you. I think the executive has struggled to outline a clear and consistent plan and vision to reduce gun violence. I think that's led many in the community to lack an understanding of the goals and the strategies that want and need to be used. You know, the district's paid for the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council to work with subject matter experts to create a tailor-made plan for the district. It's a literal plan on paper to strategically reduce gun violence. CJC's done that. I don't believe the district's actually committed fully to that plan. And in fact, tomorrow we're invited to a public safety summit to evaluate our efforts at crime prevention and reduction, as is stated to us, to think strategically about how we're using our resources. I think that's an important conversation to be had for sure, but I also don't want us to lose sight of the fact that we have an actual plan. That's what this is. And I don't want to reinvent the wheel. And so my primary objective, I think, for the deputy mayor's position and for the nominee is to lead with that urgency I think we all share. So lead with that collaboration that we talk about and that she wants as well, and to strategically reduce gun violence through those empirical metrics and through that community engagement that I think we're all hoping to see. And I think we all share a commitment to making sure it happens. So I appreciate that. I do plan on supporting Deputy Mayor Appiah today and tomorrow and next week, and want to see success and look forward to being a partner and collaborate with that. So thank you.
Great. Well, thank you both so much. I think both of you raised really important points and ones that the committee will continue to support. To Councilmember Henderson's point of the need to paraphrase a little bit, but to make sure that we are adopting public safety strategies that are sustainable over time, that we're not just reacting to the current situation. And I appreciate both of you raising that and that importance. And also, Councilor Allen, the gun violence strategic plan, thank you for raising that, because there are a lot of great recommendations that investments have already been made to come up with those plans, and a lot of what we need to do moving forward is around implementation. And my hope is that conversations moving forward are around filling gaps that currently exist and implementing recommendations that have already come forward so we can continue to improve public safety. So thank you both. With that, let's take a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Right, the ayes have it unanimously. Thank you. Next, we will consider PR 25-115, the Director of the Office of Unified Communications, Heather McGaffin, confirmation resolution of 2023. This resolution would confirm Heather McGaffin as Director of the Office of Unified Communications. The resolution was introduced by Chairman Mendelson at the request of the Mayor on February 17th, 2023. The committee held a public roundtable on the resolution on March 15th, 2023. The Office of Unified Communications, or OUC, is responsible for providing fast, professional, and cost-effective response to emergency and non-emergency calls in the district. OUC was established in 2005 to combine the emergency, 911, non-emergency, and 311 call activities from the Metropolitan Police Department, Fire and Emergency Medical Services, and Customer Service Operations. As Director of OUC, Ms. McGaffin will be responsible for overseeing all 911 and 311 operations and ensuring residents receive reliable emergency and non-emergency services and excellent customer service. Heather McGaffin began her career as a 911 call taker at the Calvert Control Center in Calvert County, Maryland. She worked her way through the ranks as a dispatcher, shift supervisor, trainer, manager, and eventually became the deputy director of the agency in 2013. She remained there until 2015 when she was offered a position as a consultant for the national safety firm Mission Critical Partners, LLC. During her 5 years with that firm, she helped emergency operations centers, localities, and state governments across the country with organizational restructuring, training development and implementation, and next generation 911 migration and implementation. Ms. McGaffin currently serves as acting director of OUC. She joined OUC in 2020 as the Chief of Special Operations and Investigations, during which time she was responsible for tracking and leading all investigations into complaints from district agencies, the public, Mayor's Office, and DC Council. She was also responsible for ensuring that all Freedom of Information Act requests were handled in accordance with federal and local standards and laws. In 2022, she was promoted to Deputy Director of OUC. As the agency's first deputy director, Ms. McGaffin was responsible for ensuring proficient daily operations of 911 and 311 services, as well as staff training. Ms. McGaffin steps into the role of OUC director at a critical moment as well for the agency. OUC has struggled to provide reliable and quality service to residents for over a decade. Reports of agency mismanagement and struggling performance have raised concerns with the public and created a somewhat strained relationship with FEMS and MPD in certain instances. In just the last few weeks, the committee has received several reports from residents of unacceptably long waits to be connected with a call taker when calling 911. The national standard is for 90% of calls to be answered within 15 seconds. Even during periods of high call volume, OUC must ensure that call takers are connected with a call taker almost immediately. Call takers must be able to remain professional and calm in often traumatic and chaotic situations and work quickly to decipher the precise location of the caller, and determine the appropriate emergency response. This is a tremendously demanding job, especially given there is little to no room for error. And I know that our OUC workers are committed to providing the best service to residents, and they are counting on the next director to act with urgency to provide staff with the training, support, and structure that they need to be successful. And I appreciate all of the efforts of our first responders and call takers. The committee is pleased with many of the steps Ms. McGaffin has taken thus far to improve the coordination that we've seen with MPD and FEMS, increase call diversion to alternative responses, expand call taker and dispatcher training requirements, formalize the quality assurance review process, and work to implement the auditor's recommendations. While the committee believes that Ms. McGaffin is on the right track, there is a tremendous amount of work to be done to ensure residents receive reliable 911 and 311 services. My committee will continue to push Ms. McGaffin to increase transparency with the public and track the agency's progress in fully implementing the auditor's recommendations. As Auditor Patterson stated in Ms. McGaffin's confirmation hearing, Additional data and evidence of improvement is needed if we can be confident that sufficient reforms have been implemented to improve agency operations. With that said, I do believe that Ms. McGaffen's experience, dedication, and deep familiarity with OUC equip her to take on this challenge as the director. And if confirmed, I look forward to working with Ms. McGaffen to address these issues and track her and the agency's progress closely. And I want to thank her and her team for the continued coordination over the last several months with the committee. I do want to recognize we've been joined by at-large Councilmember Anita Bonds as well. Welcome. I now would like to move the print and report of PR 25-115 with leave for staff to incorporate this discussion as well as any technical changes made in consultation with the General Counsel. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Allen.
Thanks, Chair Pinto. And thank you also for moving this nomination forward. I've known Director McGaffen since she stepped up to serve as OUC's Director of Special Operations and Investigations, and I'm going to be supporting her nomination today. I do want to, though, just speak very briefly about what I think I need to and what I think the city needs to see out of her leadership in the agency going forward. And I think it's consistent with the way you introduced this. First, I think that we need to see an actual action plan, like a literal plan of action for OUC, not just an org chart, but one that's visionary, one that's written down on paper, and one that has measurable steps for continuing to implement the auditor's recommendations, and that speaks with specificity to recruiting and retention goals, quality assurance, and improving response times. I think secondly, we need to see, and I think that Ms. McGaffen is moving in this direction, but I think we need to continue to see a stronger and more proactive relationship with the council, especially with this committee, to make sure that under Director McGaffen's leadership, monthly reporting to the committee chair and the members on call taking, dispatching metrics. You know, at the roundtable, she committed to the following, and I think it should be shared with all committee members. She said that she'd share updates on all call taker and dispatch errors, why that error was made, corrective actions taken by the agency, the number of shifts that were operated under minimum staffing levels, average and maximum speeds to answer and answer to dispatch data, number of type of 911 misuse calls, updated agency police policy requirements and after action reports. Those things, I think it builds confidence when they are shared with the entire committee. I think we need to see that. And third, I think, and very importantly, are the operations of OUC itself. Sometimes even the basics. I don't want to extrapolate from, one or two incidents. But I gotta say, genuinely, I'm very, very concerned about hold times, dispatch times, blown addresses, and just unanswered calls. I hear from my constituents and residents regularly that when they're picking up the phone, when they're calling, they do not get through or they are put on hold, and they have serious concerns that undermines our entire system when they can't get through to 911. And I know that's something we all share. And I think that we've got to really have a heightened focus, because I don't believe these challenges are getting enough attention. And I think we need to talk to the deputy mayor's office to make sure they're supporting and responding to OUC in the way they need. I mean, we take a look at the budget that's in front of us right now. We have $5 million in the proposed budget for MPD recruitment, which we're all supportive of, but next to nothing for call takers and dispatcher recruitment. And what does that say to the person who's thinking about that career or is looking at that job, and they see the person they're going to be sending to the call getting such a large recruitment incentive, but not one themselves? I think those things start to have an impact overall. And I think we need to, we know how hard it is to recruit into this field. We know the call takers are incredibly high stress positions, and they are working incredibly hard. We need to find ways to really prioritize this. I think we could even look at reprogrammings to help get more to our call takers right now. So I certainly see this vote as about Director McGaffen's qualifications, and they are strong. And I'm going to support her, but it's also about where our agency leadership is going to go. How do we help stabilize OUC regardless of the nominee? And how do we rebuild confidence with our residents that when they call 911, when they call OUC, that they've got that answer that's coming? I will commit to being an open partner with OUC. Want to make sure the agency is honest and transparent about its challenges, and work with you, Chair Pinto, to deliver on what OUC needs to provide essential services for our residents. So I appreciate that. I did have one quick question, if I could, and that was, I think this came up in the in the hearing as well. Director McGaffin is not yet a district resident. Is that correct?
That's correct. She is not yet a district resident. I believe she has school-age children, and so the hope is for them to finish out the school year, and she plans to move to the district by the end of this summer.
Got it. Can certainly respect that. I know I'll just say within the cluster, residency is something that we need to make sure happens. I think there's a reason why the law gives people 6 months to make sure that there's the time, and certainly we want to be considerate of those family and child needs. But I believe the date would be around August 16th is when she'd hit the 180 days. So keeping a close eye on that. I look forward to working with you to make sure that happens, so that she's a district resident at that time, and that we don't run into some of the things we've seen in the past.
Really appreciate you raising that. I think it's important that we keep pushing on that across our clusters. And this is something I've spoken to the director about. And I believe her plan is to move into the district before that 180 days is up. And we'll keep following up about that. And I hear you on your other points and appreciate you raising those. And we're continuing to look for ways to increase hiring and retention as well for these really important public safety jobs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Chair Pinto. I echo a lot of the sentiments that Councilmember Allen raised. As we all know, OUC has been an agency in crisis for a while. And as it's looking to rebuild both its reputation and its strength in terms of service delivery to district residents, it has specific needs when it comes to leadership. I think we need someone who knows the agency, who knows the field, and takes initiative to solve the agency's issues and moves it forward. I think Acting Director McGaffin is certainly qualified for this position. I met with her a few months ago, and she shared with me her vision for the agency and her plans to achieve that vision. While some of her goals, such as launching a feedback form on the OUC's website, increasing the call diversion rate to the nurse triage line, launching a junior academy, and hiring an acting public information officer has been realized, I have yet to see some of the more fundamental changes initiated, such as sharing after-action reports of incidents with public partners and sharing with committee members updated and comprehensive information about investigations, processes, reports, or specific incidents. For example, I have yet to see OUC issue a response or statement regarding the April 21st incident at the Anacostia River when emergency responders were dispatched to the 11th Street Bridge instead of to the Douglas Bridge. This is one example of basic follow-up and communication that the agency must be committed to given its responsibilities. In fact, when I went on to the OUC website just before this hearing, there hasn't been a statement or after action report posted on the OUC website since October of 22, when we know that incidents have occurred in the intervening time. So Ms. McGaffin has a bold vision for this agency, and I want to support her in any way I can in achieving that. However, I cannot vote yes today. I'll be voting present today, and I'm hopeful that some of these things can be rectified in the intervening time between our committee voting and this nomination coming up before the committee of the whole. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Henderson. And I will say the publicly sharing of information is something that we're going to continue pressing on, and that we've spoken to the director a number of occasions about, and it's our understanding that that will be publicly shared within this year, but probably late summer or fall. Councilmember Bonds, did you have anything you wanted to ask?
Yes, thank you very much. I will be supporting her nomination today. I've met with her, and I'm extremely pleased with her credentials. I think they make a big difference. She has been an operating personnel, and that's so important. So she understands what can happen in 10 seconds and what can happen in a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And so I think that's the kind of leadership that we need for this office at this particular time. So I will be supporting her. I am looking forward to the plans that she has spoken of being put to paper, like Councilmember Allen. I want to make sure that we have a full-blown plan of where she wants to take the agency, because it's so sorely needed, and sorely needed because one of the things that I hear in community, mostly, not so much that I don't get an answer, but the worries about what happens when there is a dispatch to the wrong address. And I certainly am hoping that she has a great value in making sure that her staff not only knows what the map says of the District of Columbia, but that they revisit it periodically, and that become a mandated process that they must follow. I think that's very, very important. So I won't belabor the issue. I've already informed you that I'm going to support her nomination. I think this, this is still a position for a human. It is not, we have not moved to mechanical yet. When we talk about time and matching up time with where the direction is. And so we're looking to her to really actualize what we need in a better and an improved unified communication system. And so I'm gambling that she will help us to do that. And thank you very much for the opportunity to address the committee today.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Bonds. And I think that those are really good points. And the director, I know, is working on geographic training to improve that for all of the call takers. And I think it's an important balance to get right as you articulate this as a job for a human. And there are a lot of things that can and should be automated to speed up the process. But there is also a lot of value in having a human being when situations don't neatly fit into a category to ensure that service and speed and help that is needed is not undermined. So we'll continue pushing on those things. So thank you. With that, let's take a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Please record me as voting present.
Councilmember Henderson to be recorded as voting present. Otherwise, the resolution passes. Thank you. Third, we have the Committee on the Judiciary and Public Safety Second Staff Appointment Resolution of 2023. This resolution appoints 2 staff members to the Committee on the Judiciary and Public Safety. First, Eloy Rodriguez Labrada as Legislative Counsel and Anaya Mitchell as Legislative Policy Advisor. Welcome you both to the team and thank you so much for your service. I now move the Committee on the Judiciary and Public Safety Second Staff Appointment Resolution of 2023 with leave for staff to incorporate this discussion as well as any technical changes. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you so much. Passed unanimously. Is there any further business for the committee today? All right, there being